In 1977, Wes Craven released a movie called The Hills of Eyes. At the time, it enjoyed moderate success at the box office and has become a cult classic horror movie, which sparked the remake that most of us will be familiar with in 2006, followed by 2 more sequels. The original and the 2006 Hills of Eyes tells the story of a family on a road trip that becomes stranded in an atomic testing zone miles from anyone and anything. But soon the family find out that the area is in fact inhabited by a deformed cannibalistic family intent on making them their next prey. The film itself seems too far-fetched to be based on anything that did happen, but it is actually based on Alexander Sawney Bean and his family. Alexander was born a few miles from the city of Edinburgh, and later went on to become the head of a Scottish clan who lived with around 14 children and 32 grandchildren, all from incest. They all lived in a cave sometime during the 16th and 17th century, and had a complete lack of communication with the outside world. During this period, hundreds of people travelling through the area near this cave would often go missing, and Sawney Bean and his family were responsible for this. They would ambush the unsuspecting victims, rob and murder them, then take them back to their cave where they would cut them up and pickle their limbs for future consumption. All in all, the family is thought to have killed and eaten over 1,000 men, women and children who wandered through their location. But it wasn't just the living they preyed on. It's reported that bodies from graveyards near the area were regularly dug up and the bodies were removed. Most were never found again, but one time 3 were apparently found hidden near the graveyard they had been taken from. It's said the bodies were in an undescribable state and had been dumped by the family as they must have been unable to carry them back to their cave. The Beans' horrendous acts carried on for around 25 years, until it finally came to an end when the husband of one of their victims managed to escape and alert the authorities. The word got all the way up to King James I himself, and he led an army to the family's cave, which was hidden during high tide, and they discovered the true horror of 25 years worth of filthy living and cannibalism. They found body parts hung up like dried beef, pickled limbs, and masses of money and jewellery from their victims. Such outrageous crimes demanded an equally outrageous punishment. The men had their manhood cut off and flung into a fire. Their wives and children had their faces, hands and legs cut off and were left to bleed to death, and then they were all burnt in several fires. The whole family were considered mutant monsters due to the amount of inbreeding, and this is shown in the movie The Hills of Eyes, along with a very similar storyline. So that is the story behind the movie. Now, although some argue the family's existence due to a lack of factual documents, there are many records in notable publications to suggest the family did in fact exist.